Thank y'all. So we've been having to do a lot of interviews and answer questions about why we're doing some Public Enemy music. The music itself, the production is so far ahead of its time, it's beyond any music that's being made nowadays. But most importantly, what you guys should take home if you go back and listen to some Public Enemy is that the message in the music is needed now more than ever. And some of the stuff that Chuck D was talking about 20, however many years ago, almost 30 years ago, could be something that's talked about today. And it's an important message, needs to live on.
The original record, I think, resonates strongly. We're in a very strange and kind of tense time right now.
Well, the music of Public Enemy was very politically aware, very socially conscious.
Politically, socially, I think a lot of the themes of, you know, racism, police brutality.
All of these things remain in our society, and you know, they've kind of bubbled to the surface again in recent years. You know, it's like you would hope that this nation had turned the corner, but it seemed like you just turned another corner and you're right back where you started.
And I think that record is very unflinching in its description of those things and its criticism of those social injustices.
A lot of the frustration and the anger that inspired this music is still relevant today. Maybe more so because now it's like, you know, that push back then wasn't enough to get it done. You know, what is it going to take?
The coolest music that I had heard ever. This was headbanging music for me, and it was funky, it was aggressive, it was raw, and on top of that there was a message, you know. And there's things, you know, nowadays that as we were studying these records again that I'm still trying to figure out what he was talking about. There was a lot of stuff that I felt like I learned, was exposed to, that was happening in the country at the time, that I wasn't being exposed to anywhere else.
To the land, for the strength, thinking you are first when you really are 10. You better wake up and smell the real flavor, cause 911 is a fake lifesaver. Get up and get down. 911 is a joke in your time. Get up and get down. Ain't 911 where's the late crowd. Get up and get down. 911 is a joke in your time. Get up and get down. Ain't 911 where's the late crowd.
It's much more lyrically dense, and Chuck D was a genius at being able to take this form and pack a lot of information into it, not just the poetry and the wordplay that is synonymous with hip-hop, but also, you know, universal concepts of oppression and equality that had to be dealt with.
Everybody put your hands together. Everybody put your hands together. Let's go. Yeah.
obviously 30 years ago, they were kind of dealing with Reagan era and Bush 1, the social inequality and kind of the aftermath of the civil rights movement in the 60s and 70s, and seeing how the promise of all of that effort hadn't totally been fulfilled. So they were speaking about that, and they were trying to bring that back to the consciousness of the people and to the popular conversation. Of fast forward 30 years, and we've come to another place where, you know, there's promises unfulfilled and very little movement has seemed to occur. You know, you step forward and then you take a step backwards. So I think it's a very important time for this same sort of commentary, this same sort of conversation to be thrust into the spotlight. Hopefully one day vanquishing this dragon of racism and inequality in society.